Hello, Dr. Ben here in lovely Seattle, Washington. We have sun. I wish I could prove it to you, but it is there. And I've got Dr. Yoko all the way from Japan. So thank you for being with me today, Yoko.
Thank you. Hello, Ben.
Yeah. So we met, last year was it, at the MAPS conference?
Yes, MAPS conference, spring.
Right. Yeah. And that was a great conference. And
Yes.
good doctors there, health professionals.
Yes, of course, I met you the SciCon 15, the first time.
Oh,
you
excellent.
Opened it. Yes.
Yeah, that was a while ago now. And,
yes.
And you just did the SciCon 17 from Japan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through the live streaming.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find that?
Oh, that was just so useful and helpful to renew the pathway planner.
Mm-hmm.
And plus I could follow up the updating. So that was so great.
Good. Yeah, it's a long way from Japan. So
yeah. That was so convenient for me.
Good. And I'm actually talking with some Japanese folks to get me back in Japan too, for some conferences. So I will. I'm working on it. So you're started with nephrology, right? So kidney disease?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you were working with kidney disease, and then you said, okay, I want to move in starting using genetics and understanding pathways. Why? What happened?
Oh, as I told you, I'm originally nephrologist. So nephrology means treating a kidney disease. So kidney is a urine abnormality to hemodialysis.
Mm-hmm.
The most important treatment for kidney disease is no medicine, to stop medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed to control their symptom without medicine. So I started to learn the alternative medicine. For example, mm-hmm. Chinese herb medicine and the homeopathy. I'm also a homeopath too.
Nice.
And of course, the diet is very important for kidney disease or the chronic disease. So that I started to learn the nutrition. Mm-hmm. Especially, I was interested in enzyme nutrition. So I started to learn. And plus, the gut problem is also very important. Mm-hmm. So I started the microbiome or the prebiotics. So then I learned those things. So 9 years ago, I opened my own clinic using those methods. So then using those methods, the many children came to my clinic, including the medicines, the disease is autism, ADHD, atopic disease, allergy, or the developmental disorder. Mm-hmm. So I needed to understand those patient conditions. So that's why I started to learn the genetics or the epigenetics. Mm-hmm. But those areas are so complex, I read many books or took many seminars, but that was so difficult to understand. Then finally, I found your website. So your lecture was so easy to understand and clear to understand. So that's why I started to learn.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your hard work, because it is very hard to learn this stuff.
Yes, the big area.
Yeah, and it only gets bigger.
Yes.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the patients are getting sicker. So I'm very glad that you were specializing in kidney disease, and then you realized, man, I have to get the medications off. How can I do that? And how can I support them? So that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm seeing that often in a lot of professionals who have worked in their area, say nephrology or, immunology or obstetrician.
Right.
And they realize that, in their specialty field, they're seeing more and more problems. And the only way to fix their patient was to stop being a specialist
Mm.
and to be a really good generalist.
Yes.
So, having a specialty of nephrology and OB and immunology is important. But if we don't do the general information, our patients won't get better.
Mm.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So you are seeing mostly children now, or what's your patients?
No, I see many patients from baby to elderly persons.
Mm-hmm.
So including the autism and HD and development disorders, plus the chronic fatigue or the fibromyalgia, like those chronic disease.
Mm-hmm.
And the common cold or the other neurologic disease or the mind disease.
Mm-hmm.
I see all around area.
And since you've been having your own clinic now for 9 years, right?
Yes.
Have you seen an increase in Japan for certain conditions?
Yes, I think so. I feel many disease are very complex situations. And the Japanese government cover the people, the all insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So they tend to go clinic and they tend to take many medicines, including antibiotics, anti-something. So their situations are so complex.
So it's more, the Japanese style of medicine is very similar to here in America then.
Oh, right.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mm.
And when I was there 2 years ago now, I believe, I noticed a lot of fast food.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed a lot of obese children, especially girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very alarming to see that because, when I was a child and a young adult, you did not see overweight Japanese children.
Yes,
ever.
right.
Yeah. But now there seems to be a
Yes,
big number.
increasing.
Mm-hmm. And the fast food is everywhere.
Mm.
Yeah,
And the many autism or the ADHD problem is increasing too in school.
And why do you think that is in Japan? Why is the ADHD and autism increasing there?
I think the food is very big problem.
Mm-hmm.
The GMO problem and the artificial additional and artificial sugar or the something, and plus the many medicines from the baby. So, other problem, of course, environmental toxins and the LED or the PC, the many problem. But I think the food and the medicine is a big problem.
Mm-hmm. So you're seeing a lot of autistic children already on medicine?
Yes, now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what medicines are they taking?
Oh, I don't prescribe to them.
Right. But when they come into you, what are the main medicines that these children are already taking that you try to take off?
Oh, there is a stratra. You don't know in Japanese?
No.
So that is antipsychotic medicines they use.
Oh, geez.
But not so many compared to United States, I think.
Okay. And then genetics, what are you, when a patient comes in with their genetic information, how do you use it?
Oh, I always, I don't take many, I don't test a lot to patient, especially the genetics, because it's very high cost, expensive. I guess the genetics informations from the case taking for a long time, past to now. So I use your pathway planner. It's very helpful to explain those patient conditions. And of course, for me, too easy to understand their situation and conditions, their genetic situations.
Right.
But only a few patients bring the examination result of genetics. And of course, I explained using your person planners.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't disappoint. You don't have to disappoint from this genetics. You can improve using the epigenetics.
Yes.
So I use those informations.
Yeah, I agree. Having the genetic testing, if it's available, is great.
Mm.
But it doesn't mean that there's a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't mean that there's no problem.
Mm.
So when you said that you like to use the pathway planners, which is fantastic, and it is helpful for patients to see that.
Yes.
But what I also like to hear, what I heard you say is you ask questions and you learn how the genes are being affected from your questions.
Mm.
So give me the listeners a few questions that you like to ask about what are you thinking, which genes could be a problem in your patient, and what you do about that. So yeah, what is a good question that you like to ask?
So I ask how do you birth? The natural birth or the Kaiser?
Mm-hmm.
Or or what your past history?
Mm-hmm.
That you got a lot of infections or since the baby, or the family history is very important.
Right.
So so those questions is very useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the infections are very common.
Mm.
And the food in Japan too, the sushi is great. It's fresh usually,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also very high histamine. It's
Yes.
also very potential high heavy metals.
Mm.
So what how do you recommend the diet there?
Oh, I forgot the one thing, the most important thing that case taking. What do you eat every day?
Yes.
So from the morning to dinner and the snacks, I always case taking. And so as I told you, I learned enzyme nutrition. So the lot of fresh food, fresh vegetable and the fruits, and the protein is very important. So not too many fermented food. So Japanese food, that there are many fermented food.
Yes. Yeah.
So that sometimes those patients have the gut problem, in yeast or the candida.
Mm-hmm.
So they tend to have the bloating or bowel.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend not to take the fermented food and too deep fried. So just a simple protein.
Mm-hmm.
And I also recommend the GFCF. So Japanese is easy to do because the main food is rice. So the fresh vegetable and fruit and good protein to easy to digest, and plus the rice.
Mm-hmm.
And not the processed too much processed food and the GMO or the sugar and the fructose. So I recommend those things. It's simple, very
Right.
simple.
Right. And are the patients compliant with it? Are they getting good results from changing the diet?
Yes, the result is very clear, especially the children. After 1 month, their symptom almost over the half improved.
Wow.
After 1 month to cut those things.
Well done. And what were they eating before?
Of course, the fast food and the bread and the milk and snacks and the instant noodles and artificial additional food. So when I asked what do you eat, the morning is bread and juice, and lunch is noodle and dinner is the fast food or in the restaurant, family restaurants. So there is no food.
Wow, that's horrible.
Mm.
And in is it the bento box, right? The bento
Yes.
boxes you have, yeah. And,
in Japan.
So to the schools, do they serve good food now or no?
No. That is the big problem. So I always want to say to everyone. So Japanese school serve every lunch. So every lunch, even it is a Japanese food, they serve the milk. And the half of the week, they serve the bread, the bad quality bread,
right.
including the trans shortening or the margarine, is sugar and the flowers. So after beginning the lunch of school, they started to behave bad. For example, the ADHD,
right.
irritated, they can't concentrate. Those problems is happening after elementary school.
So the children go to school, they eat these bad quality foods.
Yes, every day.
Yeah, and the symptoms would start coming. That's a shame. And so is it possible for the children, they can bring their own lunches to school?
No, that is the only situation what they have allergy. So if, for example, like us, the doctors write a paper, it's okay to bring their own bento box or something. But they have to eat all peoples eat the same thing.
Wow. So by law, they have to eat the food?
Not by law, but
by rules.
By rule.
Yeah. Okay. Unless they have a note. Okay. That's worse than here. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's worse than here because here the children, we give our children their own lunch every day. That's no problem. And they can buy the school lunch, but they don't have to. And but we also don't have the same, uniforms and such like Japanese as well. So yeah, that's a really big problem.
Yes.
Yeah, and what are so the food is one thing, and are you able to go to the schools and talk and teach, or is it the problem so big that it's not possible to teach them about good food for children?
So for example, the private school it's okay if I go to talk about the problem of the milk and bread. But the public school, it's very difficult. The financial problem or the milk company. So many problem.
Right.
So it's difficult to speak. As a parent is okay. So I have 2 daughters. So I always, my daughters, GFCF. So I recommend them to bring the rice instead of bread. So I asked the teachers to cut milk. It's okay because I write a paper.
Right. Because
but as a doctor, it's difficult.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. And then besides the diet, which is extremely important,
yes.
What are the other top 2 things that you like to do with your patients who are struggling?
So of course, the inflammation is a big problem, right? So I think the easiest part to get the inflammation is, of course, the gut. And around here, the nose and the mouth and the ear. So especially I focus on the epipharyngitis, chronic epipharyngitis. You know, so between around here, nose and the mouth. So I focus on the chronic epipharyngitis because there is a paper and it is related with autoimmune disease and nephritis, especially IgA nephritis, and chronic fatigue disease, especially after taking a Gardasil HPV vaccine. So I treat them using zinc chloride, so solutions applied with those cotton appliator, like a big swab. And I recommend them doing the home care, nose drops. So I think the inflammation control is very important, especially the epipharyngitis. And also the gut. So of course, the diet and the other supplement control the gut inflammations. And the other thing is my mind, to how to think and understand what their situations. That those two is a big problem, I think.
Yeah, because the sinus infections, ear infections, throat infections, very common.
Yes, and, very big problem.
And what about teeth?
Teeth, of course, I care. So always of course, the brushing and the food is very important to prevent the teeth problem. And the mouthwash, that is a very safe mouthwash. I recommend them. And of course, when they go to dentist, don't use the metal things.
Right, for sure. And so you mentioned Gardasil. So this is over there too, yeah?
Yes.
Oh boy. And are you seeing a lot of problems with Gardasil?
Yes. Luckily, still this 5 years, that's not recommended by government.
Okay.
So there are big problems, many side effects. So the people refused to take. Of course, I said to you that I have 2 daughters.
Right.
They are teenagers. Of course, I didn't them to take Gardasil.
Right.
So, but about the 3 or more than 3 years ago, the many girls took Gardasil. After taking the Gardasil, they can't go to school, or the headache and easy to get a cold, and they have many pain or the auto-nerve symptoms. But the government doesn't want to admit that is a side effect of Gardasil. But some girls didn't even notice what is from the Gardasil. But as I told you about that, I always case taking, and I asked, since when you had a problem? So they didn't notice, but there is once I had a vaccine, and the second time that is worse. So they realized that is from the side effect of Gardasil. So I explained them, and to control what they have inflammations, or I suggest them to control the diet. So they start to improve.
Good. Excellent. And what is another recommendation that you give all of your patients that you really believe is important for them and helping them?
So the other of the food or the inflammation control. And of course, reset the lifestyle. So sleep early and without the iPhone or the smartphone.
Right.
And good exercise. So suitable exercise, not too hard.
Right.
So proper exercise and play outside for the children. And don't drink too much alcohol. So those are daily life, not special thing I recommend.
Yeah,
so,
and it seems like it's almost like the better the doctor is, the more simple the treatments are. So it's so easy for us to get stuck in genetics and pathways.
Yes, that's right. I think so.
And it's because when you look at these things, they're complicated.
Yes.
But when you start looking at what they are all responding to, they're responding to stress, they're responding to infections, they're responding to lack of good food, they're responding to poor sleep, light, lack of exercise. It's all the basics.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I always, when I explain using the pathway planner, you don't have to understand all, but you have to understand though many places the stress or the inflammation cut those pathways. That's things you have to understand. I always explain.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you're driving down the road and everything's fine, and then a dog runs across the street, all the other cars, hopefully, will slow down. So, or if there's a car wreck, it's a huge problem behind you.
Yes, right.
So if people are eating a bunch of bad food, their genes are a car wreck. And it doesn't matter if they don't have a genetic problem, because they actually do have a genetic problem that they caused from their diet.
Yes.
Yeah, they weren't born with it, but they made it.
Yes.
Yeah. So and genetic testing is, it's like food allergy testing. A doctor will order a food allergy test, and they'll say, look, you're allergic to this and this and this, but you're not allergic to wheat. You're not allergic to dairy. The lab didn't find it. And then what do? They go home, they eat the dairy, they eat the wheat, and they're still sick.
Yes.
But it's not an allergy, it's an intolerance. So lab testing, genetic testing, there's problems in all of it. So just like you said, it's the diet, it's the lifestyle, it's the exercise, it's the sleep, it's the infections. That's pretty much it. And the environment.
Yes.
And the environment. And
right.
Yeah, friends, family, vacations. Japanese work too hard.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I know so.
I always recommend to take rest.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good. When was your last vacation?
I went to Okinawa last week with my family.
Good. Yeah. And what'd you do there?
Nothing.
Just relax.
Just take relax and take a massage and drink with my husband.
Nice. Good. That's excellent. Yeah, because when I was working with the doctors there, they were all tired. They were all sick. And they were all just working. And you can't do that. So, and I myself was working really hard with my conference, and
yes, I know.
I need to take some vacation.
Yes.
So yeah, I will probably go to Russia with my family. So
that's good.
Yeah. So it's important. It's important. And
yes.
It's a question I like to ask, actually, is when was your last vacation? And what did you do? Oh, I visited my sick friend. That's good for your sick friend. That's great. But it's not really a vacation.
No.
Yeah. So you were able to spend time with your husband. You had massage. You were in a beautiful place. That's a vacation. So Yeah, it's very important. So
Yes.
yeah, it's the basics. It's boring, but it works. Boring,
Yes,
but it
it
works.
is.
Yeah. So, and you are practicing in which part of Japan?
Kyushu area. That is the south of Japan.
Okay. So near the bottom or?
Yes, near the bottom.
Okay. So pretty close to Okinawa or?
Oh no,
No, my
it's a.
Japanese geography is terrible. Yeah.
I live in Fukuoka prefecture.
Okay. And
So
everything is by train too, yeah?
if I go to Okinawa, I have to take an airplane.
Okay. Okay. And what's the population of your city?
100, no, what the population?
100,000?
100,000.
Okay.
Yes,
Small.
small.
Yeah. Good. And do you do consultations by Skype for patients?
Not many.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have to touch the patient at first,
Okay.
and I have to check their mother's relationship or the patient face and the smell,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to always check their body.
Yes.
So at first they have to come to my clinic.
Okay.
Sometimes I use a Skype,
Mm-hmm.
but it's rare.
Right. Okay. Well, good. So if you're in Japan and you need a good doctor,
Thank you.
Yoko is the one to. Yeah. So I appreciate your help, all your research that you've done with your patients, and sticking to the basics, teaching your patient the importance.
Thank you.
And boy, we have to fix those schools over there too.
Yes.
That's a huge problem.
Mm.
And the vaccines.
Mm.
So
I'm now writing a book for the people. So, of course, that is Japanese. So sorry for non-Japanese.
Yeah.
But I recommend them to learn how food is important, how daily life is important. So I want to teach them.
So you're writing it currently?
I have already one book.
Okay.
This is Japanese. So the title is Cure by Food for Child Disease.
Nice.
And now I'm writing about the 3 books about the environmental toxin and how bad is the bread and milk or the gut problem.
Fantastic. Good. Yeah, because with books, they're very easy to give to people.
Yes.
Yeah, and so in your directory on your listing on seekinghealth.org, put your books, links to your books. So your books are available on Amazon Japan or no?
Yes, of course, Amazon. Okay. It's available.
Yeah. Well, good. And email my team the links, and we can get those on your page too. So,
thank you.
Yeah. So again, thank you for your time. And
thank you.
Yeah. And
thank you very much.
See you next conference.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.